All right, sweet peas, we're back. This is Miss Gerald, and today we're going to go through some questions. So now, what would you do in order to get your vanilla plants to form seed pods? In case it's not obvious to you yet after watching the last few videos, I'm going to click here. You need to take pollen from one vanilla plant and dust it on the stigma of a different vanilla plant. So let's watch this quick video.
So now that your vanilla plant flowers have gotten pollen from other vanilla plant flowers, your seed pods will finally grow and you'll make lots of money selling vanilla beans. Congratulations! That just leaves one question though. In real life, I said that it's often bees that do pollination for many flowers. Why do bees help plants out like this? I mean, how would bees even know that plants need pollen to be moved? Are bees just somehow geniuses who study plants and want to be really helpful to them? Here, I can see you're having trouble forming seed pods. Let me help. No. There's a much simpler explanation, and the clue is what those bees are doing when they land on the flower. We already know that when bees are inside the flower, they bump into the pollen dusters, which coats them in pollen. By the time they crawl out of a flower, they're covered in pollen. What we should ask ourselves is, why do the bees crawl in the first place? Is there something about the center of the flower that they like? Well, check out this video. This is a bee that's landed on the center of a flower, and watch what it does. You see that right there? What is that? That is the bee's tongue. It's sticking out its tongue and drinking something at the base of the flower center. There's a liquid there which the flower makes. If you were to take your finger and sample some of that liquid yourself, you find out that it's very sweet. It's a little sweet treat, a tiny pool of sugar water made by the plant. We call it nectar. If you ever want to see a bee's tongue close up, just soak a paper towel in sugar water and leave it out for a bee to land on. You'll see it. Isn't that cool? Now, in order to get the nectar that a flower offers, a bee has to crawl around the pollen dusters and also brush up against the sticky stigma. It's almost like a trick or a trap. The flower tempts the bee with nectar, a sweet treat, but in order to get the treat, the bee gets pollen on itself. Once the bee's done drinking from that flower, it'll go to another flower to get more nectar. But now it's covered in pollen, and as it crawls in, pollen will get stuck to the sticky stigma. Now that flower can make seeds. You know, it's not even fair for me to call this a trick. It's really more like a trade. Both the bee and the flowers are getting something that's good for them. I always thought it was a little surprising that plants could create a little puddle of sugar water for bees to slurp up. But plants are full of this nectar stuff. You might have already even known about it. Like sweet maple syrup comes from the nectar inside of a maple tree. And sugar itself is just the boiled down nectar of a sugarcane plant. So you eat nectar too, just like a bee. Here's a question for you. Besides bees, do you know of any other animals that drink nectar from flowers?
What other animals drink nectar from flowers? Think of other animals you've noticed hanging around flowers. Here are some examples we thought of. Hummingbirds, butterflies, and even bats and monkeys all drink nectar, the sweet treat, and pollinate flowers. All right, so if you look back, the first question is, what other animals drink nectar? We just talked about it. Hummingbirds, butterflies, and even bats.